Hello all, welcome to R&D Labs with me Rohan, and today we'll see how to implement Google Firebase's real-time database in your Swift project. Let's get started. Hello all, so for this project I have created a startup project in Swift using StoryPods again, and what I'm going to do today is we are going to create a real-time database within the Firebase console. So first up, what we're going to do is we are going to go and open the Firebase console, and bear in mind, always open the Firebase console either using Edge or Chrome, because the support for all the other internal functions for the Firebase console is supported. I tried to open this Firebase console within Safari, and I had felt like some of the components were not working. So just a heads up, you can open up the Firebase console using Chrome or Edge. So let's open up that. Alright, so I have this link over here, which is console.firebase.com, and I have a bunch of projects already available in my portfolio. So what I'm going to do over here is I am going to click the add project, and I'm just going to give a name for it. So let's say test RTDB. Okay, and I'm just going to click continue. Just leave everything as it is and just click continue. Select an account. The account over here is default account, and I'm just going to click create project. So we'll just wait for a while until the project is created. Alright, so the project is created right now, and I'll just click continue, and this will take me into the project console. Okay, so over here to the left hand side, it has got everything that Firebase has to offer to you, and our area of attention is the real-time database, which is the third from the top. So I'll just click that, and with that we will have to first attach the iOS app, isn't it? So first we will create the database, and bear in mind, so I'm currently talking to you from the MENA region, that is Middle East and North Africa. So I will be selecting something which is closer to my area, which is Europe and Belgium. So I'm just going to click that. If you are closer to the areas that I mentioned over here, like the United States or Singapore for that matter, you can definitely go ahead and select that. But for me, Europe is closer, so I'll just click Belgium, and I'm just going to click next. Over here you have two options, so I will recommend you to first start in the test mode. That will allow you more flexibility in managing your database, but then just bear in mind that this database access is only until a month from now. So I'm just recording this particular video on 15th of November, so it has given me the access up till 15th of December. Okay, and yes, you can actually manipulate this. There are blogs available over the internet on how to kind of increase this particular period. My recommendation is to, when you are building an app for the first time and the app is still within the testing environment, you can just go ahead with this, or you can, when the app is on production mode, you can just open up in the block mode. Okay, so just click enable over here, and this will open up a blank database for you. Now, how does the real-time database work? Okay, if you have seen the JSON, or if you have seen anything to do with the hierarchy, for example, an XML string, okay, you see the hierarchies, right? I mean, you have got a root node, and then you got a child node, and then you got value within that. So similarly, the real-time database also functions in the same way. So you have the database name over here, and when we start to write the code, we will have to mention the root node and then the child within that, and then we'll have to attach a value to that particular child. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We don't have an app associated with this particular database, isn't it? So we will have to attach an app. Okay, so where do you attach an app? So you will have to go back to the project overview on top, and we will have to click the iOS button over here, because that is what the platform of our interest is. So I'll just click iOS, and over here we will have to add in the bundle identifier of our Swift app, isn't it? So just copy this and go back over here, paste it, and we'll give some name to it, say test RTDB, and we'll just click register app. So the next stage in the onboarding wizard is a button which asks you to download the Google service info.plist file. So bear in mind, this will actually have the information for your app that you are registered over here. Plus, it will also have the information of your real-time database project. Okay, so this is very important for you guys to download this particular file, and I'm going to go ahead and download that. So after you have downloaded the Google service info.plist file, the next stage is to add the pod files for the Google Firebase Analytics plus the Google Firebase database into your project. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go into my terminal and I'm going to cd into our application over here. Okay, so let's go into our application folder. Right, so what is our project name? Our project name is test RTDB. Yes, this is the one. So I'm going to just write a command saying pod init. Okay, so with this, the pod file for my project will be ready. Okay, so I will just open up right now. So the pod file for my project is ready over here. So I'm just going to add in 3 pods over here, which is pod. Just be careful of the capital P, POD, and it is Firebase /analytics. It's good for your app to have this within your project. Okay, so next is pod Firebase core, and I'm just going to copy this, or I'll just leave it as it is. And the next one is pod Firebase database. Okay, so we have the 3 pods available and we have to install them, right? So let's write pod install and install these 3 pods into our project. And once you're done that, we will have to open the XE workspace file so that our pods are loaded. Okay, so once the pods are installed, the XE workspace file is created. So I'll just double click that, and this will open up my project along with the pods that we have installed. In the meanwhile, we will just go ahead and click next and set up the project. So I'll just click next and I'll just click continue to console. Okay, so your real-time database is here, plus you have attached an app to this particular project. Okay, so what is next? So the use case that I'm going to do right now is we will have a text box, and where the user will be entering names, and we will have a button. When you click the button, the name will be saved within the real-time database. Plus, we will also have a text view below that, which will hold all the values from the real-time database into it. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So let's quickly add all of them. So we have the text field here, and we have a button which is filled. Okay, and I will have a text view below it. Okay, so let's write text view. All right, so these are the 3 controls that I have at the moment on my view controller. So let us put in the constraints. This looks bad. Let me just change the color for it. System gray, that will look better. Yes. And I'll add in the constraints. Okay, and for this too. Okay, and over here as well. All right, so once you are done, my area of interest over here is to add the outlets for these controls, isn't it? So let's go ahead and add that, and plus I will just maximize my Xcode so that I have the assistant window opened up nicely. So the outlet for this will be text field underscore names. Okay, and we will have the outlet for the text view as well. Okay, so let's write text view underscore name list. Okay, these are the two outlets, plus I'm interested in the action as well. So oops, so let's write action. Let's say add click. Okay, so I'm just naming it as add click over here. So now the UI part is ready. Now let's plug in our Firebase modules into our project. Okay, so let's import Firebase, and as always we will have to write in Firebase app.configure within our did finish launching with options method. Okay, so we'll just make some room and let us write Firebase app dot configure. Okay, and you are done. So we don't have to go back to our app delegate anymore. Now we will go to our view controller. Now within our view controller we'll go to import Firebase, the same thing that we have done within our app delegate. Okay, and over here what we are going to do is we are going to create a reference for our database. Okay, so let us write, or rather create a variable, let's say var reference. Okay, and over here we will have to say database reference. Oops. Database reference. Okay, so what does it say? It is a Firebase database reference that represents a particular location in your Firebase database. Okay, so this is our database reference for the real-time database. Okay, and after this what we're going to do is within our view did load method. What's going on? Oh yes, we had missed this. Now it should be okay. So let's write self dot a reference. Okay, so this is our reference variable that we have declared is equal to database dot reference. Okay, so you have initialized the reference variable over here with a reference. Okay, now what we are going to do with this, okay, we are going to add the data into a real-time database. So where are we going to add it? We are going to add it within the add click action, isn't it? So let's go over here and what we're going to do is let's say if, okay, I just don't want any null to be there within our table, so let's write if text field dot names dot text, okay, is not equal to empty. Okay, so if the data is there within the text field, then only you'll be able to create a row within the real-time database. So once you're done with this, so let's say self dot reference. So this is again a reference variable for the database dot child. Okay, so how it will look like is we have a the database name which is right here, which is test-rtdb and whatnot. Okay, so after this what we're going to do is we will create a parent node over here which will have my rtdb maybe. Okay, so we will just create my rtdb. Okay, so below this there will be one more node so that your structure for the database is okay, it looks good. Okay, now within that we are going to create another child called as users. Okay, so just imagine this. Okay, so you have a parent node, below the parent node you have my rtdb. Okay, why am I doing this is because you might be having more than one child within your database. So if this is a child which will store only the users, maybe this could be your app name. Okay, or you have another app by say my rtdb1. Okay, so within a single database you have two different parent nodes serving different projects or serving different apps for that matter. Okay, so it is better to have this in a proper structure. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more child, okay, and within that child I'm going to create, or rather add, the names that will be added in the text field names text field. Okay, so let's write text field names text over here. Okay, and we will have to give him the optional as well if the data is not inputted, or just leave it as force unwrapped. Okay, so let's say set value. Okay, and the value again will be this same thing. Okay, you will have to always provide a value to a child if it is in the last part of the node. Okay, so this doesn't need a value because it already has a child, but this child definitely needs a value set with it. Okay, and that is it. And over here we can, anyhow, since we are force unwrapping it over here, I feel this data, this value will also be set accordingly. Okay, so yes, now this is done. After this, what? Okay, so let's write, maybe just for good housekeeping, I will just say text field.text is equal to clear. Okay, so empty. So this is what I'm going to clear the data. Okay, so after doing all this, what we're going to do over here is we are going to add in our Google service info.plist file. This is what we have missed in our solution over here. Okay, so let's open up my downloads and I will add in the Google service info.plist file to our project. Okay, so we have the Google service info.plist file, and I'm just going to check the copy items if needed checkbox. So once that is done, we just need to rename this so that the services find this particular file. Okay, so the file name is Google service info.plist file. So once this is done, we have our simulator ready, which is iPhone 13, and let's go ahead and build that. All right, so the constraints are working, the app really looks good, and let's say test. Just pay your attention over here, right? So I'll just bring this over here. Okay, so we have not clicked the button yet, so I just want you to see how the real-time database will look like. So I'll just click button. Okay, so this will have a node. So what we have done over here is, if you go back to the code, we have the myRTDB. Okay, so that becomes a root node for you. Okay, and within that you have users. Okay, so this is again what we had mentioned over here, and within the users we have test. Okay, so in case if your app actually wants an auto ID, okay, to the row, okay, you can actually do this way. So if I say child by auto ID, okay, so how it will happen is you have users. So within the users you'll have some random number, and within the random number you have a child. All right, so once we have seen this, let us do an undo, and we will just go back to what we were doing for our tutorial. Okay, so this is how you can add in the child by auto ID, and a random number will be generated over here, and you can add in the node below that. Okay, so this is how you can do this. So our real-time database and its functions are working right now, but we have not yet shown the value within our text view, isn't it? So if I open the text view, it's still empty. Okay, so that is still pending over here. We are not able to show the data. Okay, so let us go and write some lines of code to show the data within our text view. Okay, so in order to show the data in our text view, we have something called as observer. Okay, so in the real-time database, you can create an observer to observe a certain node. So in case if you want to observe this particular node, you can set the observer to this particular node. If in case you have a child node within this, and you have a child within that, and you want to observe the child values for that particular node, you can set the observer to the node above that. Okay, so if for our tutorial, if there are any new child within the user's node, okay, so if there is anything being added over here, this block over here, we need to be intimated. Okay, so we need to be informed for it. So we will set the observer to this particular node. Okay, so the observer will be set to myRTDB, and under which users. Okay, so this is the observer. So for this we will write a function. Okay, so let's write function observe data. Okay, and so what we will do is we will just say self dot, okay, and we will copy the child nodes that we want to observe. Okay, so we will copy this. Okay, and after which we will say dot observe. Okay, so the observer will observe the values within this, the child and its values within this particular node. Okay, so say a value. Okay, and if you see the description of that, okay, so it will say any change, any data change at a location or recursively at any child node. Okay, so we will set the value and width, and over here we will have to set the snapshot. Okay, so the closure is here, and let's say snapshot. Okay, so this is within the closure, and let's write in. Okay, the errors are gone. Okay, so I thought like I had missed a bracket over here, so the errors are gone. So let's write self dot. Okay, so now what the idea is, like I will be appending the values that we are adding from the text field. Okay, in that case I want the text view to be refreshed every time. Okay, so I'll just clear off the values which are there in the text view. Okay, so let's write text view dot text is equal to empty. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the snapshot of the database. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write if let o snapshot is equal to snapshot. So the variable within our closure. Okay, so I'm just going to write children. Okay, dot all objects. So this is a array, and we are going to typecast it as data snapshot. Okay, so let's write data snapshot. Okay, and within this you will have a for loop. Okay, so you have a oops, what's happening here? I did add a space, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. And what about this? A space again. Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have all the list of the data over here, okay, in my snapshot variable. Okay, and I'm going to run a for loop for it. Okay, so let's say for o snap in we have o snapshot. Okay, so this is our array, and I'm just going to say if let, okay, s name, which is our single name, is equal to o snap dot value. Okay, I'm just going to check if it is string or not. Okay, so that I don't have any trouble in typecasting it later on. Okay, then just say print. Okay, for me I just want to verify whether the things are okay or not. Whoops, name, and with string interpolation I'm just going to write in the value to it. Okay, so let's say s name. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and after this I'm going to set the value to the text field or to the text view. Okay, so self dot text view name list dot text is equal to self dot text view name list dot text. Okay, plus the variable over here, which is s name. Okay, and I'm just going to end the line over here, so I'm just going to write /n. So it's a new line denoter. Okay, so I'm just going to add that so that every new value will be added in a new line within the text view. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do right now, and let us see. Oh wait, before that we just need to call this within the viewDidLoad method. Okay, so we'll just go here, or we will paste the observe data function call. Okay, so the observe data function call is within the viewDidLoad method. Okay, so once the app is on, you will still find the data that we have added over here. All right, so once this is done, let us go ahead and run this within our simulator. Okay, so let's do that. My simulator should be up any time now. All right, so yes, you see the value is fetched from the users node. Okay, so again I'm just going to write and say Rohan over here. Yes, that's here, and plus you can see the values being added over there as well, so this as well. Okay, one thing to note over here is it doesn't accept special characters. So if you have a dot, you have a square brackets, I think even a comma doesn't work. So let us see, and the app will definitely crash with that. Yes, 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 you see that? So the app has crashed and it has disallowed me to add in any special characters. So you have a dot, you have a hash, you have a dollar, and the square opening and closing brackets. Okay, so I'll just stop this. But see, for example, in some scenarios you don't want the data to be refreshed that often. Okay, so how do you do that? See, in my app, for example, if the app is adding a lot of resource to your or rather the fetching information is adding a lot of resources to your app, so you want to stop that or you want to pause that for a while. Okay, so how do you do that? So instead of adding an observer, we can write a code to remove the observer. Okay, so let's quickly add that. I just want you to see how it is done, so let's just add that. So let's write I'm just going to add in a common button over here and just say stop, and for that I'm just having an action over here. It says stop observer. Okay, and what I'm going to do over here is similarly we have added the add observer over here. So let's write dot remove all observers. Okay, so this is the method that you need to call in case if you want to stop all the observers. Okay, so that is it. This is done, and let us run this again, and we will have to see how it functions with that method call. Okay, so you have all these values inputted, and let us see if the observer is still running. Yes, it is running. Now I will just stop it. Okay, and if I stop it right now, the observer will not work. So you don't have the fifth value entered, but you have the fifth value entered here. Okay, so this is the fifth value that we had entered, and it didn't actually show up on the text view. And in case if you want to add the observer back, again just write a code to observe. I haven't tested that, so I can't confirm that myself, but I feel it should definitely work. That's how we implement real-time database in your Swift project. If you have any doubts, please reach me out in the comment section. I'll be happy to help as always. And please like and subscribe to the channel, and see you until next time. Cheers.